Welcome to the Dan Stevens Show. With me, your host, Dan Stevens. Thank you. So, just before we get started, a little update from me. Well, quite a big update. I've had a headache for 6 days. Quite concerning, especially I don't think you find out you're a hypochondriac until you get a headache. I never really had headaches before, apart from hangovers. All of a sudden, it's Monday now. Last Tuesday night, I'd been doing some heavy lifting. I was carrying a full set of wardrobes and a kitchen from one place to another, and also carrying some heavy plastic pallets on my back. That night, headache. And I hope I'm connecting that myself. Me and Grok and ChatGPT have all decided that that's what's wrong. It's a nerve in my neck and it's gone up to my head. And my close friends as well, other comedians, they've all decided that that's what's wrong. YouTube as well has decided. Google, everyone. So I got a doctor's appointment on Wednesday. Hopefully this isn't going to be the last of Dan Stevens. I also made my modelling and acting debut last week. Quite stressful. Maybe that had something to do with the headache. It was on Sunday and Monday. So I won't give away too much. There'll be some quite saucy pictures coming out on Instagram soon, on my Instagram, on the Dan Stevens Show Instagram. I will be making a post that I am now available for modelling and acting. I was topless, just in a towel, but a little trade secret: you wear boxers underneath when you're modelling in a towel. Gillette ads and all that. My ad was a spec ad. It's basically an ad that these guys get together and make. Really talented bunch of photographers and a director. It's for a rival to a body hair shaving company that shall remain nameless for now. Just as I've covered my can of minerals here, just for advertising or something. I've put some black tape for the listeners around my can of pop, so you would never guess what it is, would you? I don't think they deserve my advertising. They should be paying me to advertise like this. Here's a clue as to what it is. Well, it's actually all cans sound like that, don't they? But I can now drink my can of pop without any worry of a cease and desist letter or warnings from Coca-Cola. I don't know why. I don't know. I had some black insulating tape. Oh. So on this week's episode, it's the same but different. It's obviously just me this time. People were really enjoying the first guest episode with Dylan McDonough. People seem to really enjoy it. We had a retention rate of nearly 50%. I think about 50 people on Spotify watched and listened. And about 50% of those finished the whole episode, which was great. I'm happy with that. To the half of you that finished it, gracias. Oh, and I am wearing not a new shirt, it's quite new, but a pink tie. Yep. Back in the day, people would call you gay for wearing a pink tie, but I think it's quite the opposite now. It shows that I'm secure about my sexuality, in my opinion. How's my hair? So this week, Fox News. This is a joke. It's just a joke before we start the news. Fox News. Free-range chickens living in fear. as foxes flock to suburbs. Now, it is kind of a joke. Oh no. Let's do that again. Welcome to Fox News. Free range chickens living in fear as foxes flock to Irish suburbs. That is the news actually. It's the Fox News. I have seen a massive increase in the last couple of years in foxes around my area, around Dublin City. They're getting very brazen, and I have had personal experience with foxes. They're very cunning. There's a reason why they call them as sly as a fox, because my family had 5 chickens in a little coop in the garden for a few years, and one by one they were getting plucked. And I'm not talking about their feathers, I'm talking about the foxes plucking them. So yeah, and I think chickens, I don't know if we have it maybe when it comes to their well being. We talk about serial killers, I'll be talking about a serial killer on this show in a few minutes, but when it comes to chickens' well being, I think free range, they're free, but also at risk from getting taken by foxes. So are they really free or are they in danger? Are the ones indoors safer and hence more relaxed from getting hunted by predators? Did we ever think about that? I know they get packed in and stuff, don't they? Maybe these glasses cause my headache. It's coming back. It was gone this morning and now it's coming back when I put these on. We try up or down. So what I'm saying is we've got to keep an eye on these foxes, and I have found a report about foxes that's from not so long ago. It is from RTE, and I have to say, credit where credit's due to RTE for this one. So basically, this is from October last year. It's a year ago, and I've seen foxes increase in numbers, and my gut feeling was that they are getting more brazen. I never used to see them around. They say don't count your chickens, don't they? But I would if I was you. So, urban fox research on Fox News. Growing boldness. University of Galway researchers are studying urban red foxes in cities like Dublin and Cork, noting they are becoming bolder and more confident. Bit like myself, huh? With the pink tie. Habitat adaptation. Foxes are thriving in urban environments due to increased food sources and shelter, with sightings during the day becoming more common. How did this happen? I just don't know. They're going through physical changes. Studies suggest urban foxes are developing physical traits like shorter muzzles and more domed heads, making them appear more cute or dog-like, potentially because they're more likely to receive treats from people. I have an approach done. I have to say, I'd be quite hesitant to approach a fox. I must say, if anyone has any experiences with fox or their own bit of fox news, send it in. There has been increased sightings. This is what I was saying. The research appeals to the public for sightings to create a distribution map and understand the relationship between humans and these urbanizing animals. So the public are being asked to carry out the survey. We can be part of this. Yeah, I never thought I'd see Fox News on RTE, but there you go. Sly little fellas, aren't they? I mean, has it been said? I haven't researched this. It's just a thought that's popped into my head. It has been said that wolves evolved into the first kind of dogs that we kept as pets. What's the name for them? Domestic pets. So are foxes now going to create a new type of domestic pet, like a little cat dog sort of mixture? They are kind of catty, aren't they? The foxes. I read somewhere along the lines that there was a local councillor in Blanchardstown, I think Ruth Coppinger, I think it was, that wanted to ban the hunting of foxes, and people were, I don't know what people are doing to them, but whatever. She looked a bit like a fox in the picture, actually, not in a good way. So, I mean, that's the Fox News today. I think I'll keep you posted with the Fox News if any pops up. I hope we haven't had a big dip now, and people they're like, "Oh, this is stupid." Hopefully, you're staying with me here. I think it's very interesting. I think we're on the way to having a new type of domestic pet in our houses, or a pet, or a pest, or a predator. They are getting more brazen. It's like bears, isn't it? In Alaska and wherever they live in America, they start to root in the bins. That's how it starts. Next thing you know, they're in cartoons, and I don't know. Anyway, let's see. Let's see the RTE News website today. I'm gonna do this one live, guys. Going through it. Jim Gavin withdrawal, embarrassing for party. So that's the Irish presidential election. I couldn't give a shit, to be honest. Okay, let's go. We go into the bowels here. Where will we go? Let's see. Middle East. No, I won't be going there. Thank you very much. Climate. Let's see what's happening with the climate. Oh, because we had a storm. We had a storm over the weekend in Ireland. And me and Joe Dowling, he rang me on Friday and he's like, Joe Dowling, Joe Irish on Instagram and TikTok. Brilliant. Hilarious. Great comedian. A great mentor of mine. Rang me on Friday. He's like, do you want to come to Cork? And there was massive storm warnings. And we were like, oh, it's a bit dangerous, isn't it? But look, this is living. This is having an experience. We'll drive down. We did a gig in like a stately home on Friday night that Joe got. Uh, I opened for him. And then we did a gig in Rosscray and Tipperary on Saturday night. So we had a little tour in the storm. You'd nearly forget there was a storm when you're driving around. It was very my. I got a text from my brother. He's like, Dan, I heard you drove to Cork in that storm. Are you still alive? Basically, and I was like, yeah, I'm alright. Um, my mother and father. My mother, I told her I was driving to Cork, and she's like, cancel that. Do not do that. That's really dangerous. And I was like, why? What color is the weather now? Is it red, orange? What color is the warning? Red. But no, I mean, maybe I'm irresponsible. I probably am. But we had two great gigs. People were out. They were loving it. So that's my climate news anyway. I'm not going to harp on about that anymore. I don't want to get too heated. German doner kebab to open first Irish outlet. Oh, you're joking me. Doner kebab is opening its first restaurant in Ireland at the end of November. I vaguely remember I might have seen a review of this place on YouTube when it opened in the UK in the last couple of years. It'll be in Liffey Valley in Dublin. 30 stores across Ireland within the next decade. There's a there's 170 of these restaurants as of July 2025 in the UK, Sweden, North America, Middle East, uh, all backed by its primary investor, True and Hero Brands. So the franchise leader of the Strava group, his name is Ricky Sharma. You're joking me. Some things are just meant to be, aren't they? Ricky Shawarma. No, it's Sharma. So close. Why couldn't it be shawarma? So I might have it. I'm a big fan of kebabs. I might have a taste of that one whenever that opens up here. People love food now, don't they? It's absolutely. I think because everybody's in fight or flight all the time because of all the bad news coming in at them. They're just like, oh, I need to eat something nice. Oh God, please, I need some relief from this end of the world that we're going through. I might as well do it. The world's gonna end anyway. So today we're gonna focus on the Fox News, which we just had. That could bomb there. Like I don't know if that's. I don't know if that's any. I thought it was funny. It is about foxes, and I am into it. So there you go. That was the Fox News, and a little bit of news about whatever. But today's episode, the main event of this episode, I'm gonna put the mullet over and the agony uncle on the back burner for this week because simply don't have anyone writing in agony uncle stuff. I got one last week. I got one a couple of. But write in stuff if you want. But this week we're gonna focus on a request I got from a listener, a viewer, Billy Healy. He told me, you gotta look into this guy on the weekly serial killer. I got slagged off last week by my friend for getting schooled by the guest on serial killers around Ireland. Little did I know that they're on my doorstep. The man in the ball. And now we have Joe Ball. But the man in the ball and the man bear pig person or pig, whatever it was, that was rumored to be killing people. Remember, I am doing this with a headache as well. It's so weird. I press in on my neck and I can feel that. Maybe I'm doing too much. Maybe I'm doing too little. Who knows? Anyway. I hope the focus is focusing well now. It was blurring in and out before. So, apologies if that's happening again. I'm working on it. Anyway, this request was for a serial killer, allegedly a serial killer. His name is Joe Ball. Sounds like a page 3 model, doesn't it? Joe Ball. He's far from it, this fella. Page 3, more like killed 3. Because his victims were 2 plus. So, none of this was verifiable, or it was all just rumor and hearsay until 2002, when Texas Monthly got witness accounts from people, some of the relations of Joe Ball, about what he was like and about what went on around the town. He was called the Alligator Man. Joe Ball, the Alligator Man, also known as the Elmendorf, the Butcher of Elmendorf, the Bluebeard of South Texas, the Alligator Man. And by the way, that's not why I did. That's not why I coloured in myself with a blue beard at the back there. I do not condone serial killing. I do condone it. Sorry. So, 2002, Texas Monthly gets the account in Elmendorf of the story of Joe Ball. So, basically, the rumour was that he fed hotel guests, including pretty hookers, to alligators. So in his adolescence, Joe Ball got into guns. In 2002, his nephew, Bucky Ball, said he was a great shooter. This is the words of Bucky Ball, Joe Ball's nephew. He said, my uncle could shoot a bird off a telephone line with a pistol from the bumper of his Model A Ford. He fought in World War I, then became a bootlegger, selling whiskey out of a 50-gallon barrel. So I've watched the documentary on this, and I'm kind of just shortening it down for you. But that was him. He was into guns, fought in World War I, probably got a bit of trauma. No therapy around back then. And then he started selling whiskey from a 50-gallon barrel. In the mid-1920s, while he was selling whiskey, in the mid-1920s, he employed an African American Clifton Wheeler. He was a handyman by trade, and he started making him do his dirty work. Wheeler lived in fear. Whenever Joe was drunk, to let off steam, he'd shoot at Wheeler's feet, making him dance the jitterbug. Jesus Christ, yeah. I know. Just amazing to think that kind of stuff went on. You get locked and then make him dance. Just very, very bad. Shooting at Wheeler's feet. So then prohibition ended, so that you're allowed to sell drink again, as far as I know. And he built a tavern / B&B called the Sociable Inn. There was a lot of drinking, cockfights, and he was known as a creepy guy around town. So it looks like business was going well. He had a few rooms out the back, and then out front he had cockfights going on, a load of gargle on the go. Creepy fella. And he was like, right, Clifton, I have an idea. We're going to get 5 alligators in. We're going to put them behind the bar. Now, I don't mean serving drink. I mean, they dug a hole behind the bar, cemented it, filled it with water, put 5 allers in there. It said in the documentary, 1 large and 4 small. Please, Carol. The countdown, isn't it? 5 alligators, 1 large, 4 small. So that was behind the bar. I mean, if I heard that there was a fella after opening a B&B with a big bar out the front, and he has a pool behind the bar with 5 alligators in it, I'd be an alcoholic. I'd be in there all the time. Now, I'm just saying, with that information, I would be. It'd be unbelievable. Now, he did put a 10-foot fence up around it, which is fair enough. So anyway, this is what happened. Loads of customers came. Business flourished. On Saturdays, this is where it gets a bit disturbing. On Saturdays, he'd feed live animals to the allers, right? Raccoons, cats, dogs. Alright. He would have been, I'd say if he was around these days, he'd be getting foxes, feeding them to them. Rude Coppinger wouldn't be happy. So one of the customers said, you get drunk, throw an animal in, watch the alligators. Absolutely incredible. I condone it, by the way. I do condone it. I condone it. If you condone donuts, I condone nuts. Sorry, just getting ridiculous now. Well, look, let's stick with it. So Saturdays, that was the big event. You know, we'd be watching the Premier League. Other people would be. I'd be. I don't know. I don't know if it's acceptable to. There's no live animals. It's acceptable to feed the alligators. I just want to say that now. But if it was acceptable, what animals would you? Rats, wouldn't you? Yeah. Anything that a pest controller can kill. Is that fair enough? Fish. Yeah. Mice. So this is when it started getting disturbing, really disturbing. Like, that's bad enough, you know. Well, you know. You shouldn't be feeding cats and dogs to the alligators. But anyway, 1934. Joe was running a good business. He's doing well. And he met a woman named Minnie Gotthard. Minnie Gotthard, or Minnie Gotthard. They used to call her Big Minnie. He was with her for 3 years. Then he met Dolores Buddy Goodwin. And she loved him even though he threw a bottle at her. Apparently. There's not much in it. It's all a bit scant, isn't it? Is that the scarce, scant information here, but We're getting the gist of it. Big Minnie, 3 years. The locals didn't like her apparently. They thought she was a bit of a bitch. And he met Buddy Goodwin, Dolores Buddy Goodwin. Then he fell in love with 22-year-old Hazel Shatsy Brown. That's weird, isn't it? Shatsy Brown. What's the story with all these names? Big Minnie. That's the opposite. Yeah, Irish kind of sense of humour, isn't it? How are you, Big Minnie? And just a little tiny fella. But this was a woman, obviously. So he was in love with 3 women at the same time, and they all worked at the bar. My God. Unbelievable. Summer 1937. Big Minnie disappears. Joe said to the police when they arrived and the media, she left town after having a black baby. And then later on, a couple of weeks later, he confessed to Dolores Buddy Goodwin that he had shot and buried Minnie in the sand. I'd say Clifton was getting a few looks when he said that about the black baby. I'd say Clifton was like, Joe, don't be spreading that rumour around. So he's like, right, I'll just tell them what happened. Anyway, we go to January 1938. That was 1937. Big Minnie disappeared. 38. Dolores is in a car accident. This is Buddy Godwin. She's in a car accident and left with an amputated arm. I don't know how you lose your... Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Did she have it out the window? Driving? Were women even allowed to drive back then? I don't know. Rumours circulated it was the alligators. I mean, I don't know. I think I know where my money would be on anyway. It would be on the alligators. Then in April, so that was in January, she loses the arm. April, Dolores disappears. I think it was April, Dolores disappeared. And then it must have been Shatsy Brown. This is April 38. Mid 38. Minnie's family, Big Minnie's family started investigation. Dismissed. They couldn't find anything. Then we had a few more people go missing that worked. We had Julia Turner. She worked for Joe. And then 2 more women that used to work in there went missing. He said they all left town. September 1938. An old neighbour of Joe's comes forward. Said he saw Joe cut meat off human bodies and feed it to the alligators. Wow. So he's been linked to all these disappearances. He admitted to shooting Big Minnie. And he confessed to Dolores. Disappeared. Okay, we're on board here. September 38. Old neighbour comes forward. He's feeding the human body to the alligators. Then, not long after, Mexican-American man approaches the sheriff. He told him about a barrel behind his sister's barn. Smelled like something was dead inside. Deputies investigated. Barrel gone. Joe came in and removed the barrel. Sheriff's call again. The sheriff's names were Gray and Clevenhagen. Alright, so at this point, the pressure's mounting on Joe. A lot of I'd say you would call it hearsay. Maybe some circumstantial evidence. But they don't have any evidence against him yet. It's all just rumour. And missing women who he says left town. So at the moment it's his word against theirs. So anyway, the pressure's mounting about the barrel. The barrel goes missing. And Gray and Clevenhagen, they call to Joe's bar, which was called, can you remember what it was called? The Socialise Inn. So they called to the Socialise Inn, and their aim is to bring Joe to San Antonio for questioning. So Joe says, no bother. He says, will you just let me close down the tavern first? And they said, yeah, no bother. Alright, we'll wait here for you, they said. And they sat at the bar. So they're sitting there watching them. Joe grabs a beer, guzzles it, gobbles the beer down, goes to the register, presses no sale. Pretty normal. I think that's what you do. If you, I don't know. Anyway, the door of the register pops open. Ka-ching! Grabs a .45 caliber revolver. Waves it at the sheriffs. They said, don't! Then he shot himself in the heart. Dropped dead. Some people say he shot himself in the head. I'd say it was probably a typo or something in between the reports. People go for the head, don't they, usually? By the way, and I'm just going to... Sorry to... this won't be a long... I'm just going away from the point here a bit, but I never know what the caliber thing means with guns. I gotta look it up here. What is the caliber of a gun? The caliber of a gun is the nominal internal diameter of its bore. Yeah, I don't know what a nominal or a bore is. The part of the barrel... Sorry, the bore is the part of the barrel that the bullet travels through, and also refers to the diameter of the bullet fired from that firearm. While caliber generally indicates a gun's size and power, the designation isn't always a precise measurement and can sometimes include other historical or I don't know. How to understand caliber, and there's four big things. I don't know. Look it up yourselves. I don't know. It's boring, isn't it? How's this shirt looking? Feeling a bit restrictive. This story is far from over, guys, by the way. Just to let you know. So he guzzles the beer down, shoots himself in the heart or the head. And then, not long after, the sheriffs discovered rotting meat and an axe with blood and hair on it. Next thing you know, Clifton Wheeler is questioned. Now, at this point in the documentary, I was thinking, Jesus, does he give information? He'd end up shooting himself in the foot. Surely, like, if Clifton Wheeler was his assistant and he had him scared to say anything, basically. So you would think that Clifton would be like, look, I'll tell you, but you have to give me immunity. Like Linda Kasabian in the Charles Manson case. Surely it would be like, yeah, I'll tell you if you just don't punish me. Looks like Clifton didn't do that. But you'll find out now. So Clifton Wheeler is questioned, and initially he was very hesitant to give any information about Joe. But sure, Joe's gone now, isn't he? So anyway, they eventually softened him up. And Wheeler said that Joe was mad about being accused of killing Minnie. So then he killed Hazel, because he was mad about getting accused of killing Minnie. Hazel was Shatter, wasn't Shitzer? What's her name? Shatsy Brown. Come on, man. He killed Shatsy, killed Big Minnie. Then he brought them basically out on a Clifton Wheeler, who, remember, was his black assistant. He brought them to the Hazel Brown remains. And it turned out that it was Hazel that was in the barrel that was reported earlier. And they brought the barrel, he helped them bring the barrel out to the middle of nowhere. And Hazel was in it, and they buried her. And anyway, he showed them where it was. So basically it turned out then that was Shatsy. And then Shatsy got Shatsy. I shouldn't be, yeah, anyway. That's what happened. See, Shatsy got shot, see, Shatsy. It turned out then Clifton told the lads that he shot Big Minnie in Ingleside near Corpus Christi. That's in Texas. It sounds like a girls' school, doesn't it? In Raheny or something. Then October 14th, 1938 was a bad year, wasn't it, for Joe Ball. Back in the bar, they found a scrapbook of women. And it turned out in the end, none of them had any connection to Joe. But at the time, they were speculating. The sheriffs are just, the sheriffs are like, this could lead to one or a dozen more murders. And then they realized that none of them were connected to him at all. Then they found Dolores in California, who, if you remember, Dolores Buddy Goodwin was found alive and well in California. 2 weeks later, in Phoenix, Arizona, another missing woman was found alive and well. And these are all people that were linked to him killing, to him having killed. So then, 20, whatever it is, 20 years later almost, Dolores Buddy Godwin was interviewed. And she ended up saying that Joe never put anyone in the tank. Joe was a sweetheart. There were only 2 murders. Wow. Yeah, so that's fast forwarding a bit, that interview with Dolores Buddy Godwin. Dolores Bloody Godwin. Dolores Goddy Budwin. Anyway, what happened to Clifton Wheeler, you're probably wondering. Turns out he had shot himself in the foot because he was given 2 years for his part in disposing of the bodies. If he had said no to that though, he would have been dead. Joe would have killed him. So after the 2 years in prison, then here's an extra bit of bonus information. After the 2 years in prison, Clifton Wheeler, he opened his own bar. Clifton Wheeler. No alligators there, don't worry. There was no talk of any alligators anyway. Allegations and alligators, huh? So basically, his notoriety preceded him, and he couldn't show his face in public. He obviously had a very bad reputation around Elmendorf and surrounding areas, so he just had to leg it and disappeared. So that was the end of him. He's just gone then after he did his time. So anyway, what happened to the alligators in the tank, you're probably wondering? The human rights people. What happened was they were seized and donated to a San Antonio zoo, where they lived out their lives as tourist attractions. See you later, alligator. So Joe Ball was known as the Butcher of Elmendorf, the Bluebeard of South Texas, and the Alligator Man. I don't know. Joe, obviously a bad egg, Joe Ball. 100%. You can come to your own conclusions, but I mean, serial killer? Nasty character, yes. Serial killer? That's up for debate. He was proven to kill 2. They connected him to other ones. I don't know. Definitely a bad egg and definitely worth talking about. So thanks very much to Billy for recommending looking into Joe Ball. I'd never heard of him. Amazing story of Joe Ball. So I guess it's rest in peace, Big Minnie. And I'd say Shatsy Brown is looking down on us here today. Now, well, rest in peace, Big Minnie. What was her name? Big Minnie Gotthard and Hazel Shatsy Brown. May the souls and all the souls of fatally departed rest in peace. So we're gonna leave it at that for today. I really enjoyed researching that. I gotta, people have been saying do a bit more on the serial killer. So that was the story of Joe Ball. I told it the best I could with the information I had. Hope you enjoyed the Fox News as well. Watch out for them. They're very sneaky. If you're thinking of getting chickens, the eggs are unbelievable, but they are at risk, especially the free range ones. So keep all your chickens in a barn. No, don't. Share the podcast, please. Subscribe, like, follow, all that stuff. I would be very appreciative. Interact, comment. That's how we spread the thing. Look, I know there's a lot of podcasts out there. The market is saturated with them, so I really appreciate you giving your time to listen to this one or watch this one. Hopefully we can keep going with it. Well, I will be keeping on going with it, and I hope you are enjoying it. We'll be back again next week with a bit of Agony Uncle and a bit of Mull It Over. And obviously the serial killer and the news. Serial Killer Weekly Serial Killer and the news. Really grateful to everybody for listening and watching. I hope that the focus hasn't been coming in and out on the video again. I just need to find out how to fix that. I think the problem is that I've no one behind the camera, so has to be someone focusing it at the camera on me. So we'll have to make do for the moment. Guys, this is the Dan Stevens Show, and I'll see you next week, or hear you, or you can hear me, or you'll see me again next week, whatever you want. Thanks, guys. Chat soon.